To see how completing the square of this equation results in the quadratic formula itself, let's go ahead and just run through the standard process for completing the square and see what we come out with. So we're going to set this equal to 0, just like we're finding the x-intercepts of a quadratic equation that we've had before. Set that equal to 0. Now we need to make this equal to 1. Okay, so we're going to divide through by a. That gives us x squared plus b over ax plus c over a. Now I want you to go along with me here because you need to know this. This is a good thing to know, plus it'll help your lubricate your math skills, so to speak. Just with all the manipulation of these terms we have to do. So we've made that coefficient equal to 1 by dividing through by a. Now we're going to move c over a to the other side, right? That's the second step. X squared plus b over ax equals negative c over a. Now we're going to take this, we're going to take 1/2 of that and square it. So that is b over a times 1/2, and we're going to square it. Okay, that gives us b squared over 4a squared. Okay, now we're going to add that to each side. So this is the completing the square step. That gives us x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared equals negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Okay, now what is our perfect square here? Our perfect square will be x plus b over 2a squared. And FOIL that out, and what do you get? You're going to get exactly that back. Okay, because this is 1/2 b over a. 1/2 b over ax plus 1/2 b over ax gives me b over ax. That times itself gives me that. So this is our perfect square. Well, this equals, now I'm going to go ahead and just put this on the right, so the minus sign is in the center. This equals b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to perform the square root of each side yet. Let me go ahead and find a common denominator for this side. That gives me x plus b over 2a, so I'm just going to rewrite this. Okay, so now what I have is I have an a here already, but I don't have a 4, and I don't have my second a. So I'm going to multiply this in cross multiplication. I'm going to multiply this numerator, this c, by 4a. So that gives me b squared minus 4ac divided by 4a squared. Okay, 4a squared would be my common denominator. Now I'm going to take the square root of each side. So that gives me x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 4a squared. Now this denominator, the square root of that, is 2a. So we can rewrite this or simplify it as x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, now you can see it's already looking familiar. Now we need to just move this over to the right hand side. This gives us x equals negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And because I already have a common denominator here, I can rewrite this as x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that is the quadratic formula. So as you can see, the quadratic formula that you had to memorize back in grade school was not pulled out of thin air. It actually comes from completing the square of a quadratic equation of that form.